Chapter 16. When I opened my eyes, I was walking. I had no idea where I was, but I knew it wasn't the chamber. I was outside, in broad daylight. I was carrying a basket of laundry along a stream in the woods, and couldn't stop myself. I wasn't in control of my body. I knelt down, grabbed a pair of pants, and began washing them in the stream. I continued doing this for 5 minutes, going through the whole basket. "Father!" I turned and saw a little boy of about 6 running out of the woods toward me. He was dressed in what looked like pilgrim clothes. He had a little green jacket with pants that came up to his knees, with white stockings. He ran into my open arms and looked in the direction from which he came. I looked and saw an old man run up a second later. "What is the meaning of this?" I asked him. "I caught your lad stealing one of my chickens." "And? He's just a boy." The man blustered at that. "Don't think I don't know what you and your boy are. The whole colony knows. He was trying to acquire a chicken for a blood sacrifice." I laughed. "What are you going on about, Thomas?" He took a few steps forward. "I know you're a demon. I'll prove it, and I'll see you burn." "Those are strong words. I still don't understand why you think these things, Thomas." He laughed. "You know exactly why I say these things, Dargonius." I understood, then, that I was experiencing a flashback. I said to Thomas, "You claim to have seen me fly. Do you not realize how ridiculous that sounds?" "Prudence saw you as well." "Prudence is an old woman. She doesn't know what she saw." My heart, or Dargonius's, sped up. I looked down at the boy. "Henry, does Thomas not say the silliest things?" He looked up at me with bright eyes. "Yes, father." I looked up at Thomas, who backed away, pointing at me. "Your time will come, Dargonius. Yours and your son's." "None of that, Thomas," I said. The tone in my voice wasn't lost on the other man. He ran away. Suddenly, I was flashing forward to another time. It was night, and I was in bed. My room was on fire. I jumped out of bed and ran to a hall, where I saw the entire house was completely covered in flames. I tried to run to a door that was blocked by fire. "Henry!" "Father!" I heard his tiny, scared voice from the room I couldn't get to. I raised my hands, and the fire parted. I ran through it and into the room. Henry was in a corner, cowering in fear. I picked him up and ran back through the gap. Outside the house, I saw over a dozen angry people screaming at me. "Die, demon!" an old woman screamed before throwing a rock at us. I turned so it hit me instead of Henry. It struck my back, and I cried out in pain. More rocks came. I turned back to the crowd and roared, and an invisible force shot everyone away. Everyone flew at least 20 feet off the ground and landed hard. I ran away, toward the woods, with Henry in my arms. I didn't know where I was going until I got there. A river. I stepped into the freezing water, trying to cross to the other side. "Swim, Henry!" The little boy tried to swim as the water reached up to my neck. I could barely feel the bottom with my feet. I held on to Henry with one hand, but he was slipping from my grip. "Henry!" I lost hold of him, and he was carried away in the current. "Henry!" I screamed until my throat was raw. And then suddenly I was somewhere else. I was floating on my back in a vast ocean, looking up at the sky. That was just a taste of the injustice I suffered at the hands of men, a voice in my head said. "I'm sorry for your loss," I told Dargonius out loud. "Those were different times then. Everyone who hurt you is dead." "It may be a different time, but society will never truly change. You're no better than Nim, in my opinion, I said. In fact, you're worse. You're planning to kill people who have never done anything to you. You're using your power for evil. You're becoming the monster those colonists accuse you of being. Perhaps, but it doesn't matter now. My son died that night, and so did the old Dargonius. When I found Henry, he was cold and pale, looking at me with lifeless eyes. I held him for days, unable to move or speak or think. When I regained my senses, I buried him and wandered into a village, sick with fever. The people there took care of me for a while, but when my powers manifested during a fever dream, the villagers reacted the same way as the colonists. I killed every last one of them. On and on, people reacted the same way when they discovered I had powers. Then, one day, I met a woman who knew nothing about me. We got married, had children, 2 girls and a boy. When they started manifesting abilities of their own, my wife panicked. She tried to kill them, so I killed her. What happened to your children? I tried to keep them safe, told them not to use their powers, but people found out anyway and killed them. It was then that I realized I could not live a normal life in a society that feared magic. The world doesn't fear it the way it used to, I said. We even make movies and write books about magic. No one would try to hurt you. Rockney told me the same thing. I don't want to hurt society for what it might do now. I want to hurt it for what it's already taken from me.